Hey everyone, Simon here, and today we're going to be talking about a completely different topic from what we've discussed before. And for that occasion, I have my conspiracy theory glasses on. Actually, no, it's nighttime, and these are blue blocking glasses that I wear to get on the computer because they work incredibly well. I wear these for about a half hour and then I'm off to bed and I sleep like a baby. Whereas before, and by the way, I'm wearing them over my normal glasses. Before, I would just, you know, work on the computer at night, try to go to bed, and it's very hard to go to bed. But today, they're my conspiracy theory glasses. So, why conspiracy theory? Because I was just watching a show on TV on the History Channel, and they were talking about that the phenomenon of UFOs are actually a military disinformation campaign to get people to take their attention away from the war planes and the stuff that the military is building and put it on something. Oh, it's not like some crazy new, bomber jet. It's a UFO. Yeah, let people think that. And I thought that sounds weird. But it could be a brilliant kind of campaign, a brilliant thing. So I thought, I need to find out what the answer is. Okay, we need to know. I need to know. So I pulled the chart. Now, a little back history about this. Many years ago, when I was seeing clients, one of my clients asked me, hey, is my stock portfolio going to go up or down? Or is this stock going to perform? And I gave him a prediction and it came out right. And he was very happy and he saw me again, a number of times. And I knew nothing about stocks. All I knew was what the chart that you're looking at here showed me. So many years later, I got into sports. I know nothing about hockey, the Premier League, the Spanish League, German League, soccer, whatever. But I know the chart. And so, based on what the chart showed me, I made predictions about sporting events, and it all led into me even writing a book about it called Gambler's Dharma. Um, Now, more recently, I've got into stock trading myself and specifically cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, which I believe is the future. The world is in an outsider age, and we need an outsider monetary system, which is already here. It's coming, and it's constantly being renewed. Anyway, so now I don't know anything about these new, tokens, these new coins coming out. I trust the chart. And so far, knock on wood, knock on plastic, titanium, this book is made out of wood. Okay. Vishnu Sahasranama. Always have this by your side, and you can't go wrong, hopefully. Um, there are some prayers that say, Nirvignyam kuru me deva sarvakaryeshu sarvada. Oh Lord, make me free of obstacles in everything that I do. I think that's a little bit presumptuous. So my prayer is Nirvignyam kuru me deva shubhakaryeshu sarvada. Oh Lord, make me remove any obstacles in all my positive endeavors, the things that are evolutionary. In my negative endeavors, please put some obstacles there because I don't want to follow those. I want to show that, oh, yeah, I shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, so the point is, where were we? I know exactly where we were. The point is that I've been successful enough so far, not because I know about stocks or because I know about, sports or any other number of things that clients have asked me about. It's because the chart reveals the answer, or even about elections. A couple of years ago, we predicted that Trump would likely be impeached at a particular between November and February. That little time span, it's exactly when it happened. It wasn't me, it was in his chart. It was already there. So the chart shows what is about to happen. And so I've trusted the chart enough times to know that it The chart always speaks the truth. The question is, can the astrologer interpret it? And this is where sometimes astrologers go wrong because they don't trust the chart or they're not interpreting it correctly. So that brings us to my method for determining, are UFOs real? And the method is to look at the horoscope. Not any horoscope, but the horoscope for the question itself. And as you can see, this question was posed today, August 22nd, 2020, 822-2020. Interesting, there's probably something about that. At 20:50 p.m., 10:50 p.m. So, and this is the chart. Now, a lot of you here watching are astrologers. Some of you may not be, and you don't have to be. I'm going to explain to you what this chart says. So first of all, well, actually, this is, let me show you the actual chart. Boom, this is the actual chart because I had rotated it to look at something. This is the chart here. So first we have to determine, is the question a real, genuine question, and will this chart be able to answer it? So before you dive into the water, you got to see, are there alligators in there, or is it pure, clean, beautiful water that you can swim in and even drink? So to do that, we look at the placement of the moon. The moon is in the 8th house, the house of secrets. So this is definitely in line with what this question wants to discover. More particularly, it's at 2 degrees Libra in the sidereal zodiac, which is in the nakshatra, the asterism, the Vedic asterism, Chitra. And the deity of Chitra is the guy who builds flying saucers, Vishwakarma. Okay? So the moon is exactly reflecting our question. It's about secrets, and it's about things having to do with fine craftsmanship that is even has a what we would call a magic or supernatural element, which UFOs have this sort of cachet. So the question, the chart reflects the question, which means this will be an accurate chart in representing, in giving us the answer. Okay, now we can follow the moon to see it's going to give us part of the answer as well. So now the moon is, so I'm going to use something called KP, or Krishnamurti Padati. It doesn't matter if you don't know what that means. It's a type of inquiry into the horoscope invented by a man named Krishnamurti, who had tremendous insight. So this is one technique. So now the moon is in a star of Mars. Mars is well placed actually in the first bhava in KP, in Ashwini Nakshatra. Then moon is in a sub of Ketu. Okay, Ketu is in the 9th bhava in the Nakshatra Mula, which again shows us that this question is genuine because the Nakshatra Mula has to do with the galactic center, and it has to do with the core, the hidden root, the hidden secrets behind all things. It has to do with the black hole at the center of the galaxy. So that in itself suggested there is something real and existent about this topic. It's not fantasy, it's not made up. It has its roots deep in the mysteries of life. So that's encouraging. The more so because the Star Lord of the Moon is highly dignified. It's at 1 degree in its own sign. So that's just a little hors d'oeuvre, okay? A little bit of KP, okay, to get us started. Now, another way we can judge this question is to look at the rising, at the ascendant, to see what the ascendant tells us. And one of the best ways, here's a little secret for those of you who have watched so far going, come on, get to the point. Are they real or not? Are they real or not? Okay. Hold on, relax. We're going to get there. Or just fast forward to the end, okay? The rising Drekana. Drekana is the decanate of the chart, is the second Drekana of Pisces. Now I'm sharing my screen with you. This is from James Kelleher's excellent excellent book, actually from a slideshow from one of his classes on the Drakenas. Now, 30-second aside, a pitch for James Kelleher and his books. These are the #1 Vedic astrology books, textbooks that I recommend to beginning all the way to advanced students. There is something magical about a book that can speak to a complete beginner and an advanced practitioner at the same time. And I believe James Kelleher's books, Path of Light, Volume 1 and 2, do that. And they, especially because they talk about the Drakenas, which almost no other book does with the depth and insight that his books do. In a close second is my own Jyotisha teacher, Hart Defoe's book, Light on Life. But the reason that's not first is because it's a little bit more difficult, not a little bit, it's a lot more difficult to access for complete beginners. And so for that reason, and it doesn't talk about the Drakenas in the same way, in the depth that James does. He has really, really taken this to a fine art. And I do suggest you visit his site, jameskelleher.com. Okay, that aside, and he doesn't know I'm doing this, by the way, so I just really appreciate his work. So that aside, here is what the second Drekana of Pisces says. It is a woman whose face is as bright and beautiful as the champaka flower. Just gorgeous, beautiful, bright, fragrant also. Champaka, is a very fragrant. You make incense also, I believe, from it. She's searching for the coastline on a ship. She's on a ship, on a vessel, searching, that is sailing across the ocean. Okay, now this is a metaphor for travel, long distance travel. The ship has many banners on it. That's interesting. Many banners means different languages, different traditions, different things. She's surrounded by her servants and her family and is holding a long staff. A long staff means authority. Okay, so that's the rising decanate of the chart, which again, at the very least, reflects the question. The question is about, is this real? And the chart is essentially saying, yes, this is a real existent thing, and because it relates to travelers. Now, it could have been something else, and a different kind of Drekana that relates to, no, this is a lie, this is falsehood, whatever. But again, this is just the second line of inquiry. Now, what I use to determine if the answer is yes or no is the fourth method. So I've shown you two methods so far. The third method is, before we get to the fourth, let's look at the third. The third method is something that I teach in our horary astrology prashna chart classes, which are ongoing right now, spring into Jyotisha. If you want information, you can email me. And the very basic technique is, when there are benefics in the angles, the answer is usually yes. Or dignified malefics, malefics in their own signs. So what do we have here? Well, Venus is in the 4th, Jupiter is in the 10th. Are they dignified? Hell yes, they're dignified. Venus is digbala, which means it has directional strength, a first tier strength, no joke. Jupiter is in his own sign. Furthermore, he's retrograde, which makes him very bright in the sky. If I go outside right now, the first star I'll notice is Jupiter, because he's the brightest right now, and he's directly overhead. Then, and the moon is not very bright because it's very close to the sun. Then what about Rahu Ketu? Well, many people believe the Gemini is or could be a friend sign or an own sign of Rahu Ketu. I know some people think it's other signs. Doesn't matter. Rahu Ketu here are not enough of a malefic influence to spoil this answer. So again, from the third technique, the point of view of benefics in the Candidas, this is a strong yes. Okay. But even that may not be enough. So we have the moon signifying the question. We have KP method giving us some insight. We have the rising decanate saying, yes, these are travelers looking for another shore. They have many banners. They come from many different places. And then we have the benefics in the angles, okay? But here's the final method that I used. I use my own winning with Vedic astrology techniques that I write about in Gambler's Dharma to determine, are UFOs real? That's one team. Or UFOs fake? That's the other team. Who's going to win? Well, without going into the details, folks, it is a clear picture that the UFOs are real camp is the winner. And so my answer then is yes, this is a real and existent phenomenon based on the astrology, if you believe it. And the symbolism in the sky is very much also mixed with Vedic philosophy. If you don't know, in the Vedic tradition, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, it talks about flying saucers with the gods flying in machines made by this, the guy who rules the star of the moon, Chitra here. And furthermore, the fact that the ruler of the ascendant is in Purvashada Nakshatra, which is ruled by Apas, the deity of water. Now, what does that have to do? Well, it's not just a deity of water, it's cosmic water. And what is cosmic water? It's the Milky Way. It's the river in the sky. And that river in the sky comes down to earth and becomes the Ganga. Now, Ganga herself is associated with flying saucers. Why? Because she came to earth to liberate one of the Vasudevas who did some naughty things up there, stole, did some bad things, but he flew around in a flying saucer. He came to this Rishi, this saint's hermitage on earth, and he was like, what's going on, man? And then his honey said, ooh, I want that Rishi's cow. Will you get it for me? And he said, yeah, baby, anything for you. He grabbed the cow, put it away. When the Rishi discovered, the Rishi looked at him, son, that's not happening. Boom, and he cursed him. And he cursed him to become human, which is one of the worst things, because now you're born, you're hungry, you feel pain, right? You're mortal. Oh my God. So Ganga came down to help them with that curse. And so anyway, it's a long story. It's the longest story of all time. It's the greatest story of creation, the Mahabharata. But the point is, the position of the ruler of the zodiac is placed in that spot that represents the principle of the cosmic waters. And so again, and it's in the 10th house of the stars. And because now, if the planet were combust or debilitated or conjunct Neptune or otherwise afflicted at the end of the sign on a cusp or something negative, it could indicate that, yeah, it's not real. It's just people think it is. But no, this planet is dignified in its own sign, aspected by another benefic. And in fact, aspected by Venus, the lord of the Asuras, and Jupiter is the lord of the Devas. So this suggests that there are different camps. And also the rising Drekana suggests that this is not just one group of aliens, right, of non-humans coming. They're different groups. And in fact, they may actually represent, and I'm going a little bit out on a limb because I'm a very practical person. I'm not a out there kind of guy. I mean, don't let the glasses fool you, okay? But in mythic terms, Jupiter represents the deity, the devas, who are the beings of light, who want to bring goodness and light and evolution to the world. And Venus represents the asuras, who want to bring the world down. And so right now in the sky, there is this cosmic battle happening between the devas and the asuras. So sura means deity, a god. Asura means the opposite of that, a little devil, a little, not divine being. So this suggests that we're being visited by multiple banners, right? Multiple entities, and hence the confusion. Some people see certain things, some people see other things, some people experience it as very benefic, some people don't. So that's another suggestion. So I'm going to leave it here because there are many, many other questions that we can ask, like when are we going to make contact, for example? When, um, and other things like that. I don't want to go into it here. This is just a little taste, but I'm here to tell you, based on the chart and from my experience in reading these charts, is that they never fail. These charts are true and correct. It is our ability to interpret them, but this chart is pretty straightforward. There's little ambiguity. And this chart says, yes, these are real phenomena. So I hope this was useful. And maybe if there's enough interest and you guys want a part 2, we can make a part 2. And I'll keep my conspiracy glasses on for that as well. All right, guys, thank you. Hari Om Namaste. We'll see you in the next one.